How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today the topic is 10 things that you don't want to hear about quitting drinking alcohol. Now the first one is that quitting drinking alcohol is not a magic bullet, right? You just don't stop drinking alcohol, stop any habit in your life, and everything else is going to be it's going to fall into place. It just doesn't work like that. You know, a lot of people think, well, alcohol is at the root of their problems, and you know, once they get rid of this one thing, that everything else will fall into place. And you know, for a lot of people, I think alcohol is at the root of the problem, but it's a behavioural issue. It's something that you've been doing for a long time, and it has sort of stretched its tentacles into all different areas of your life. And so you've got a lot of work to do at the end of the day, and this is where most people fall down, is because they think that, you know, quitting drinking alcohol is the thing to do. It's only the start, right? The rest of it you have to alter and move around things within your life, you know, alter behaviours, change habits, get rid of some habits, bring in other habits, you know. You have to get rid of some people in your life, and you have to start associating with other people. Number 9 is that after you've quit drinking alcohol, there's still a lot of work to do, you know. This is only the beginning. We touched on this in number 10. But it's like, you know, as you start out on this journey, the quitting drinking alcohol is the simplest part of it, right? It's the most straightforward, right? You don't put the alcohol into your mouth anymore. There can be nothing more straightforward than that, right? The rest of it is all determined by you as a person, what you want, how you live life, how you, what age you are, you know, what your likes and dislikes are, how you think about yourself as a person, how you want to think about yourself as a person. And this all takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of thinking. But as I said, that thinking is all worthwhile. You know, you have to sort of break down all the areas where you used to drink alcohol, all the areas where you are getting the cravings and the triggering aspects of your life. Break down the areas where you're having problems, and try and figure out where it is that you need to make the changes, and then make those changes gradually, bit by bit by bit by bit, slowly. The third thing that you might not want to hear when you stop drinking alcohol is that you actually get your inhibitions back. You know, a lot of the alcohol, while you're drinking at least, lowers your inhibitions and allows you to sort of, as we like to think, step outside of our shells, you know, and become people that we are, I don't know, you know, that we want to be, or do we want to be that person? Or it allows us to sort of chill out and relax a little bit, and you know, that's the perception of relaxation. From my mind, it's only when you stop drinking that you realise just how unrelaxed you were as a person, you know. Number 4 is that you get your emotions back, and I never realised this until quite recently, you know. And you know, one of the big areas of my life that forced me to drink a lot more than I did, ramped up my drinking levels, was the death of my wife. And that, just to hide the pain, but when I think back on it, I've always dealt with emotions in that way, you know, unwanted emotions in that way. And not only do you deal with unwanted emotions that way, you also, after a while of drinking and for different purposes, you need to drink alcohol in order to feel an emotion, right? You need to drink, you know, you can't go and have fun. This is your perception anyway, that you can't go and have fun without drinking alcohol. You can't relax without drinking alcohol. So these are emotional states. The 5th thing that you might not want to hear about after you've quit drinking alcohol is that, you know, in most circumstances, in most cases, you're going to lose some of your friends. I say friends, you know, in some cases these people were mere accomplices, you know. This is, in my case, a lot of my friends, the people who I thought about as my friends, were the people who were just there, and we encouraged each other to drink. We encouraged each other to have that one more or that two more, or stay in the pub a bit longer. And when a relationship is revolving around alcohol in this way, if the glue that holds your relationship together is only alcohol, then that relationship is going to quickly come apart. And you know, I'm not saying this just from your perspective. You going out and drinking with, being with drinking buddies, and being in their company and listening to the same conversations, and you know, they don't change. They're the same. You're changing, right? So you listening to that same conversation over and over again is going to become boring, repetitive, and you're going to be wanting to seek other things. But from their perspective as well, you know, the whole thing about having drinking buddies is that, you know, what plays out in Vegas stays out in Vegas, right? That kind of thing is when everyone's on the same level, everyone's drinking the same thing, everyone's on the same level. And once you're on a different level to them, you know, you'll find them drifting apart from you as well. So it's just a fact of this whole journey. But you can't hold on to these people, because if you do try and hold on to them, then they will try and convince you that what you're doing is wrong. Number 6 is that some of the things that you used to do in your life are not going to seem as important to you anymore. Some of them are even going to be repulsive. You know, from my perspective, just sitting in a bar now without doing something else is kind of repulsive, right? It's kind of like you're listening to people and you're thinking, what the hell am I doing in here? You know, you listen to what comes out of people's mouths, where, you know, before you used to lap it up and it was all good fun, and, you know, while you were sort of in the same level as they were, you know, going back to friends and that kind of stuff. But, you know, there's certain parts of your life which are just not going to hold that appeal to you anymore, you know. One of the things that I used to love doing after a drinking session was eating a lot of fast food. I still love a bit of fast food, but the same sort of stuff I can't stomach anymore, you know, that kind of rubbishy food. You know, but don't worry about these things. This is all what you lose in one area of life, you gain in another. You know, the gaps that are made from the things that you don't like to do anymore, you'll fill in, you know. But, you know, it's another area which takes work, and it's another area which takes a bit of time and patience and breaking things down into chunks and doing it one chunk at a time, you know, and approaching it like that. And once you approach things like that, then you'll find that it's a lot easier to deal with and to handle, you know. Number 7 is that once you do stop drinking, you're more than likely going to start looking back at your life and some parts of your life with regret, with shame, with thinking that you should have done things differently, and you wish you could have done this, or you should have done that, or you would have done that, you know. And it's a natural response, you know. You just can't, it's not something that you can get away with. You know, maybe some people have tried to help you in the past, and you've sort of thrown that help back in their faces, and now you feel and you think about it and you understand yourself a bit more, and you understand where these people were coming from, and you know, you might feel a bit of guilt about it. But I say there's no point in dwelling on this kind of thought, you know. Just accept the thought for what it is, you know, listen to the thought, but let it go. Number 8 is that once you quit drinking alcohol, this is going to uncover a lot of different problems, you know, a lot more problems than you initially thought that you had. And I know that might seem mad, and you might be thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, you know, I thought alcohol was a bad enough problem, but now I've got to deal with all these other problems as well, you're telling me, you know. But it's not as bad as it sounds, right? Just think about alcohol, your behavior as alcohol, as being like this, the outside of an onion. It's the best way of describing this. And you take away the alcohol and you uncover different things. The next one is that you're going to become boring to some people. You know, some people are going to be going to you, oh, you used to be such a fun guy, you know. I used to go out with you and used to have loads of fun. Now you just become boring. Well, what I have to say about that is, if somebody else finds you boring, right, that's their problem. It's not you. It's nothing to do with you. That's their perception of you. And why should you care about that? You know, there are certain people in your life who you should care about what they think, right? You know who those people are. And they're the only people that you should really care about what they think about you. So even if these people think that you're boring, it's like, so what? You know, it's not the end of the world. But you're going to get it. You know, some people are going to think you're boring. Some people are going to think you're mad. Some people are going to think that you're an alcoholic. The big A word. You know, it doesn't really matter. You know, if you go around in life thinking and hanging on what other people think of you, you're going to be tossed to and fro like a piece of wood on a high sea. You know, you're just going to be. There's no point in doing that. You know, you go down your own route, you choose your own route, and if people want to choose to follow you down that route, then that's all and good. If they don't, then that's their tough shit. You know. Final one is that you might have to rethink who you are, right? And you know, this sounds, you know, when you're changing, you can't remain the same person that you used to be. That's just not possible, right? Change means that you are not you anymore. You see a lot of people don't do things, don't change in their lives because they feel that, well, that's just not me, you know. It's you know, people who don't exercise because they just don't, it's not me, you know. People who don't do this or that because it's just not them. Well, that's obvious, you know. If you don't do something, it's not you. In order to do something, you've got to change the person who you are.